So today we are going to discuss about real-time kernel. So what is real-time kernel? The kernel of the real-time operating system is called as real-time kernel. And all the services which are handled by the real-time operating system are actually handled by the RTK, that is real-time kernel. So it is highly specialized. This real-time kernel is highly specialized and it contains only the minimum set of services required for running the user applications or tasks. User applications are user tasks. So the basic functions are the basic services which are handled by the real-time clock are task management or process management. Task or process management, task scheduling or process scheduling, task synchronization or process synchronization, error handling or exception handling, memory management, time management, and interrupt handling. So these are the 7 services which are handled by the real-time kernel, that is the kernel of the real-time operating system. Now we are going to discuss about each thing in detail. So the first one is a task management or task process management. So what is the services handled by these? What are the things handled by these? What is the function actually handled by this RTK? We'll see now. So these task management or process management deals with the setting of the memory space for the task. First, it will allocate the memory space. Next, it will load the task code or the memory code into the flash memory of the embedded system. Loading the task code into the memory space, and there is a flash memory of the embedded system, and allocating the system resources and setting up the task control block. Task control block for the task or the processor. Okay, so what is this task control block and what are the things and the contents of this task control block we'll discuss now. And this task control block is a thing which holds the entire information regarding the task. The entire information regarding the task will be maintained by the task control block. And this task control block usually contains the following set of information actually. What is the task ID, task state, and what is the type of the task, and task priority, task context, pointer and memory pointer, stack pointer, and task pointer also. These are all the some of the contents of the task control block. And what is task ID? I identify number. Each task is given with a unique number that is maintained by TCP, and which state the task is. It is having several states in the life cycle of the task and process that we are going to discuss in while we are discussing the task, process, and threads. Okay, so that will be in the execution state, or that will be in the block state, or it will be in the run state or wait state. In which state the task is, the current status of the or current state of the task is also maintained by the TCP, and which type of the task is, whether it is a soft real-time task or hard real-time task. So which type of the task it is. Okay, and what is the priority? If the priority it is having the high priority means it is assigned with 1. Otherwise it is assigned with 0. Okay, so context pointer means when it is in the case of context saving or switching from one context to another context, the previous context need to be saved, no? So it need to point out that. Okay, so this task management service utilize the TCP of a task in the following way. So it creates the task control block for a task on creating a task, and delete, remove the task after the execution of the task is completed, reads the task control block to get the status of the task, and update the task control block with the updated parameters on the need basis. Okay, so it need to be modify the task control block content depending upon that state of that task is varying. Yes or no? So these are all services handled by the task management. And task scheduling, well, because it is a real-time operating system, everything is predefined. Yes or no? Everything is predefined, and that need to be completed within the defined period. So this task scheduling deals with the sharing the CPU among the various tasks and various processes. And one kernel application is there that is called a scheduler. Scheduler is the kernel application which that handles the task scheduling. That handles the task scheduling. Scheduler is nothing but an algorithm implementation which performs the efficient and optimal scheduling of the task to provide the deterministic behavior. To provide the deterministic behavior. So this scheduler is nothing but an algorithm. When we can say the that operating system is having the deterministic behavior, When compared to general purpose operating system, real-time operating system is deterministic in behavior. How can we say that it's deterministic in behavior? Because the response time is very critical here. Response should be within the time. Any delays in the response is not at all acceptable, and many hazards may happen because of the delay happened in the response. I mean, particularly if it is using in the defense applications or aircraft applications, even the nanoseconds delays is not acceptable, right? So the response should be in the time, and response time is very critical factor in the case of real-time operating system. Not only in the to reach the real-time applications, the real-time operating system or the systems with the RTOS should have the deterministic in behavior. And third basic function of this real-time kernel is task synchronization. Okay, so because any system is multi-processing system and multiple processor or multiple tasks are under the execution at the same time, in concurrent acts of resources, when concurrent execution is going on, parallel execution is going on, a multiple process require the same resources, right? Multiple process need to be shared the same resources. So concurrent acts of resources which is shared among the multiple tasks, to do that, the communication need to be established between the tasks, right? So who will do that? This task synchronization will deal with that. So this task synchronization deals with the synchronizing the concurrent acts of the resources which is shared across the multiple tasks and the communication between the various tasks. So next thing is error handling or exception handling. So actually it deals with the handling of the errors occurred or any exceptions rise during the execution of the task. So when these exceptions are, raised, or when these errors may occur. So errors are, exceptions are something like insufficient memory. If you want to store, if the kernel want to store the task into or allocating the memory space for the task, if the memory space is sufficient, there is no problem. If the memory space is insufficient, no, so at that time the error may occur or exceptions may rise. So handling of those type of exceptions are timeouts. Why? Because everything is scheduled here. The execution should be completed within the scheduled time. Okay. Otherwise, times out. That also accepted as, that also raised as an exception. Are deadlocks. What do you mean of deadlock? Did you heard about the deadlock anyway? Did you discuss about these deadlocks? I'll tell you. Deadlock is nothing but, say here, if multiple processor is under running position, or multiple process is executing, maybe multiple process require the same resource, right? For example, 3 processor are in running state for process 1, process 2, process 3, and process 1 and 2 require the same resource. Process 1 required 1 resource. That resource is already held by the process 3, for example. Process 3 is using that resource. That resource is required now. Currently, it required by the another process like process 1. So because it is held on the another process, this process can't get that. So we can say the process 1 is deadlock position. Did you understand this deadlock condition? Deadlock condition is when multiple processes are sharing the same resources. If one process is locked without getting that resource where it is held by the another process, the condition of that process 1 is called as deadlock. Okay. So missing of these deadlines are divide by 0, unknown instruction execution. These are all the exceptions arise during the execution of the task, or errors occur during the execution of the task. And next service handled by the real-time clock is real-time kernel, or the kernel of the real-time operating system is that memory management. So managing the memory when compared to the general purpose operating systems, these real-time operating systems kernels are slightly different while allocating the memory space or managing this memory. So this what happened no in the case of general purpose operating system, but the memory space is allocated in a dynamic manner. In a dynamic memory allocation is possible. Dynamic memory allocation process is followed by the general purpose operating system. Whereas in the case of real-time operating system, block-wise memory is allocated. Memory is allocated in the block-wise, that too on the need base. Okay, so dynamically the memory is not at all allocated as in the case of general purpose operating system. Memory is allocated in the block-wise it is allocated, and also on the time basis, time need basis it is allocated. So here you can see, compared to the general purpose operating system, the memory management functions of the real-time operating system kernel is slightly different. And the real-time operating system makes use of the block-based memory allocation technique instead of the usual dynamic memory allocation technique that is used by the or followed by the general purpose operating system. This real-time operating system kernel uses the blocks of fixed size of dynamic memory, and the block is allocated for a task on the need basis. On the need basis. And last, sixth service that is handled by the kernel of the real-time operating system is that interrupt handling the interrupts. What it deals with? It deals with the handling of the interrupts, handling of various types of possible interrupts during the execution of the task or during the execution of the process. So what do you mean of this interrupt? When the processor and CPU is executing a process, when the program or a set of instructions, which is frankly speaking the task, so some systems, maybe externally some peripherals require the attention of the immediate attention of the CPU, or internally some systems or some exceptions require the attention of the CPU. So that may be internal interrupt, or that may be occurred due to the external peripheral. So here interrupt provide time behavior to the systems. An interrupt informs the processor that an external device as associated task requires the immediate attention of the processor or the controller. This interrupt can be either a synchronous interrupt or asynchronous. Tell me how many types of interrupts are possible here, students? There are two types of interrupts are possible: synchronous interrupt and asynchronous interrupt. Now we are going to discuss about what is synchronous interrupt and what is asynchronous interrupt, and what is the difference between these two with the examples. See here, first of all, consider the synchronous interrupt. What is a synchronous interrupt, and what are the examples of the synchronous interrupt? Interrupts which occurred in synchronous with the currently executing task is known as the synchronous interrupts. So the interrupts which occurred in synchronous with the currently executing task, that is called as synchronous interrupts. What are the examples? Like some of the interrupts like divided by 0. What will you get if you divide something with 0? 2 divided by 0, 3 divided by 0. What is the answer? Infinite, right? That infinite can't understand by the digital circuits, though that rises as the exception, or that occurred as the error. So software interrupts or memory segmentation errors are some of the examples of the synchronous interrupts. Asynchronous interrupts are the interrupts which occurred at any point of execution of any task. It is not predictable. It is not expectable, right? So those are the unexpected failures may occur sometimes during the execution of the task, or unexpected failures or unexpected errors may rise during the execution of the task. Those which are not synchronous with the execution of the task, right? So those are called as asynchronous interrupts, right? So these asynchronous interrupts are the interrupts which occurred at any point of the execution that is not predictable, that is not expectable, and during the execution of any task or at any time, right? And are not synchronous with the currently executing task. That's why they are called as asynchronous interrupts. What are the examples, or what type of interrupts can be called as asynchronous interrupts? No, the interrupts which are generated by external devices which are connected to the processor or control. So it is coming from the outside. So the peripherals which are connected to the processors or the controllers, are the devices which are connected to the processor or connected. If they require the serious attention or the immediate attention of the CPU, so they'll send the interrupt request to the processor. What means that I required your attention, right? And you stop the current execution and come and execute the requested thing. And after the completion of the, if that requested one having the highest priority, what the processor will do, it stops the current execution and jump to the requested one. And after the execution of that interrupted one is completed, no, then again it come back to the main program. And serial data reception. So these are all the examples for the asynchronous interrupts. Time management. So this is one of the last service which is handled by the real-time kernel, actually, at the kernel of the real-time operating system. Time management or managing the time. Who will give the time reference for the system? When we are discussing about the system components, did you remember third unit? No, students, during the third unit, first topic of the third unit, that is the system components. We discussed some of the system components like about watchdog timer, reset circuit, brownout production circuit, real-time clock, So these are all the some of the system components which are used for the proper execution or proper functioning of the embedded system, right? So in that time, we discussed about the real-time clock. So what is the basic use of the basic function of the real-time clock? What is the basic function of the real-time clock? Actually, the real-time clock is nothing but timing reference. It provides the timing reference. What is the date? What is the time? And what is the day of that week? The complete timing reference for the system is provided by the real-time clock. Okay, the accurate timing behavior or the accurate time management is essential for providing the precise time reference for all the applications. So the time reference to the kernel is the time reference to kernel is provided by high resolution real-time clock, or it may be a hardware unit or hardware chip. This hardware timer is programmed to interrupt the processor control at the fixed rate. And this timer interrupt is referred as timer tick. So you can see in the programs, whenever it is observed the timer tick means that is the interrupt from the timer circuit. Okay, so it is the accurate time management, which is essential thing, essential service, one of the essential services which is handled by the RTK, that is real-time kernel. With a precise time reference for all the applications. The time reference to the kernel is provided by high resolution real-time clock. It is a hardware chip actually. The hardware timer is programmed to interrupt the processor control at the fixed rate. The timer interrupt is referred as timer tick. So here today we discussed about the 7 basic functions of the real-time clock. Now students, tell me what are all the basic functions of the real-time clock?
Task or process management, task or process scheduling, task or process synchronization, error or exception handling, memory management, interrupt handling, and time management.
So these are the basic 7 functions which are handled by the real-time kernel, where this kernel of the real-time operating system is referred as real-time kernel. It is highly specialized and it contains only the minimal set of services required. So today we discussed about the minimal set of services which are required for running the user applications or the user task we discussed today. And if you have any doubts, please ask me regarding this real-time kernel services, because it is very important question from the